Yes, so the day before I found out, no girl knew what was happening, but we knew the boys knew something. And the next day, I was called down to the principal's office to be confirmed as one of many students of the AI incident. And I'm not gonna lie, after I left the office, I was crying. And while I was walking the hallways, I saw a group of boys laughing at a group of girls who were crying, and that's when I realized I shouldn't be sad, but I should be mad.
I realized I shouldn't be sad, but I should be mad. Matt, doesn't that sound a little contrived? Yeah, it does. Of course it's contrived. But don't go too far, first grade truthers. The whole thing's made up. Nobody at Westfield High School, of which, by the way, my roommate at Penn State, my roommate Rob, went to Westfield High School. They know each other. Everybody at Westfield High School is watching television going, that girl doesn't go here. They're using the event. They didn't just bring, she's a real student there. They didn't bring some actress in from a certain part of Bangladesh or Kazakhstan, maybe Borat's other sister, number 4 prostitute, all Kazakhstan. They didn't bring that. She's a real student. They got to her. Somebody likely said, you don't want this to ever happen to girls again. And the little girl and her mom also pushes for new laws. I'll show you that. No, we don't want this to happen again. See, we have to start slowly. Would you consider if you were to say this phrase, I don't know exactly how they present it to her, so she thinks it's her own idea. Say, shouldn't have gotten mad. Or shouldn't have been sad. I need to get mad. Okay, she didn't come up with that on her own. I'm not an idiot.
So I came home and I told my mom, and I said, we need to do something about this because this is not fair to the girls, and this is not okay.
Francesca, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think you've seen the images. Do you nevertheless know how many girls were similarly victimized, and do you know who was responsible?
I know who was responsible, and it has been rumored that there are over 34 girls to be involved in this.
Mom, Dorota, I'm going to put something on the screen from that Wall Street Journal piece, and then I'll ask you for a reaction. I'll read it out loud. It says the following. Even among parents, there's no consensus. In a local Facebook group, some called for harsh punishment for whoever created the images. Others deemed it a youthful transgression that should be forgiven. How do you see it, Dorota?
Listen, I've heard over and over that boys will be boys, and I agree, boys will be boys, girls will be girls. That being said, there's right and wrong, there's legal and illegal.
There's right and wrong, there's legal and illegal. And the fact that she repeats that, I'm pretty sure, means it's 100% contrived like a script. Who gave it to her? Did the men in black come down and sit down? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right? The exact details of who these people, Matt, these people work for the secret societies. It doesn't matter. Let's stay at 100,000 feet looking down at what the general not milk tactic is. Does it really matter who these people are to be able to see and interpret what the general not milk tactic is? Number one, it's always to confuse. There's right and wrong, there's legal and illegal. Well, the CNN Post started by saying there are no federal laws against it. So people immediately go into a state of cognitive dissonance in their subconscious, unconscious, wrestling with it. The conscious mind doesn't notice it. There are no laws against it. So what she's even talking about, what's she talking about? What is she even talking about? It's confusing me, God damn it.
At the same time, when this transpired, I'm speaking, from Francesca's history, there were multiple of boys that reach out to support her and say, listen, how can we help you? This is not okay. We feel so bad. What is there for us to do to make it better? Many of them walk her home. So yes, boys will be boys, but there's also right and wrong, legal and illegal.
Oh no, there it is again. There's right and wrong, legal and illegal. If you were in the audience, who told you to say that, miss? If somebody could raise their hand in the middle of the interview, I doubt Michael would ask her, who told you to say that exactly like that? Well, that's my own. That couldn't possibly be your own. Sit down and shut up. Yeah, right. It's not. Of course it's not her own. Anyway, guys, here's the point. In a not milk story, the subconscious or unconscious of the viewer or listener is always under attack by the not milk. We talked about the fact that he says there's no law against it. Then she's talking about laws, legal or illegal. There's right and wrong, bringing in the legality, call the police. Why? There's no laws, right? So that's the first grade level of confusion. But here she said just a minute ago, well, I don't want to condemn all boys. Then that's also gets in the subconscious. These boys are just horrible, but we'll leave that for another time. How the not milk goes out to do that to boys versus girls. That's at this particular moment in history. But some boys were nice. They wanted to walk her home, and they said, how can I help? See, that reinforces that, again, she was incredibly wronged. And the other element embedded in this story is the AI, again, is out of control, and we need to rein in the AI. There needs, just like we talked about in the YouTube video a few videos back, there needs to be more laws, rules, regulations. That is also playing on the subconscious of people listening. But when she says, or the not milk presents in the story, that other boys were sorry and they wanted to help her and walk her home, or however she said it, that's an acknowledgement that what was done was so horribly wrong. You know what? Can we speak plainly? I don't mean to sound like Joan Rivers. That was a little bit creepy. But you know what? In terms of who was, and some of you will be triggered by this. You know who was wronged? Nobody was wronged. Get over it. This is this culture that has been created that it's always someone else's fault, and we need the authorities to intervene. And you know what a real parent, and I don't have kids, so I guess I shouldn't say it like this, but you know what a real parent, in my opinion, does to a real kid? Just says, there's some really tough, evil, dark things in this world, and so what if some kid puts your head on the 600-pound life, naked fat woman? Who cares? Well, I need to go to the principal, we need to do something, we need to act. No, why? Who cares? So they put my head on the Pamela Anderson's naked body, then my 600-pound life naked body. So what? Why is it bothering you, my child? Get over it. Don't do anything. Just laugh it off. Like there's not going to be evil people in this world. That's the ultimate theme here. That not milk wants to present, that no one's going to be big enough on their own just to have this not affect them at all, that the authorities have to be involved and somebody has to help, and you're not big enough, you're not powerful enough on your own for the mother to say to the child, well, so what? I remember my mother maybe this is a little bit as the way I am. There was a kid named Wayne in the Kingswood apartment complex where I grew up, and I had this orange bouncy ball that I liked. I don't know where, one of those things you get out of a gumball or vending machine, but it was much bigger. And this kid, Wayne, I couldn't mess with him. He was 4 or 5 years older than me. He just took the ball and he threw it. I don't know where he threw it down this huge hill. I couldn't, into a bunch of weeds or something. I couldn't get to it. Just took it and threw it away. And I was so upset, and I couldn't do anything to him directly. I remember running into my mother, almost crying, as I guess maybe I was third grade. He was probably a 7th or 8th grader. Kind of like one of those kids in A Christmas Story, the one with the yellow teeth. One of those. You can't really mess with them when you're that young. Mom, you got Wayne threw the ball away with it. And my mother just said, I was so upset at her at the time, but it probably was a good lesson. She said, so, what do you want me to do about it? I can't fight your battles. I'm sorry. Go away. And it's not the most sensitive thing either. And I'm not sure which side is right, but I think in this case, that's more appropriate than, running to the kid, and we need to get the authorities, and Joe Biden administration needs to pass more laws. Do you see? That's ultimately what the not milk wants out of a story like this. That you need the authority. You need me on that hill. You want me on that hill you need a new administrative agency that costs $1 billion. You want a new administrative agency on that hill that costs $1 billion. You can't do it alone, you poor devils. This part isn't exactly related to the outcomes that the not milk wants out of a story like this, but it is appropriate to reiterate. I've talked about that scene in the third Jack Ryan movie. Now it's over 20 years old. Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan. This one, not Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger. One of the best advice to give anybody, a parent to a child, is that scene in Clear and Present Danger, where they find out that the president has a certain relationship with a drug dealer. They went to school together, and they didn't realize, they thought he was a legitimate businessman, but he was involved in cocaine. And of course, all the aides and consultants start saying, we'll distance your relationship. We'll say you really weren't friends. We'll just play it down. And Harrison Ford says, do you have an idea? He says, yeah, you should do the opposite. Give them nowhere to go. This is one of the greatest advice that anybody can take in life. Give them nowhere to go. Don't say, when you say, were you friends? Say, no, we weren't friends. We were like best friends. Just do the opposite of what they expect. The girl in this case, just who cares? You know, her friends come up. Aren't you really upset? No. Is that me? Is that body me? No. Well, I've got better things. Be so far above it. In any situation that you can be embarrassed by as a kid or a teenager, some teenager in the high school, some little deviant I can say this, caught jerking off to a Sears catalog or something in high school. It's like, you were jerking off, and don't say, no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. Yeah, I was. So what? You want to come here? It gives them nowhere to go. You always win in that situation. Yeah, I was jerking off. So what? Haven't you ever done it? And then every time it works, whether you truly believe it or not.
Francesca, do you think that this should be best dealt with by the school or by local law enforcement, the police?
I think it should be both. I think the school should contribute to helping make all the girls more comfortable in our school, because so many girls don't feel comfortable knowing that he's walking our hallways. And I also think there should be a law inputted.
After something she said in that segment, it's just time to make fun of it from here on out. We've learned basically all we're going to learn, or at least look closely at not milk tactics. She says they want laws. Of course, laws are coming. As we talked about 2 videos back on YouTube, the more they use AI and the boogeyman of AI to put society where they want, the more the AI threat isn't real. You can't have 2 Sharon Stones at the same time. But based on what she said before that, we need to make fun of it. So did she say something like, the girls don't feel comfortable with this boy walking the same halls? The boy that put a real head in digital form on another body? Oh my God, the horror! They're making it out like Hannibal Lecter was released on some sort of a technicality, released from that dungeon in Baltimore. Barney said goodbye to him and put a suit on, and then Hannibal Lecter said, "I still have years of eligibility in high school." And Hannibal Lecter came back to school. We don't feel comfortable with Hannibal Lecter out on a technicality walking the halls. It's not Hannibal Lecter out on a technicality walking the halls. It's not Hannibal Lecter. It's just some kid on his phone that put a head on a different body. But the girls, they might not be able to go to school. The world must see to their happiness. They can't create it on their own, inside their own families, working with their own parents. If there's an injustice, the authorities must come to the rescue. You're not big enough on your own to say, it doesn't bother me. So what if some kid put my head on the digital body of a 5-headed hydra? Like, why would I even care? Let's just move on. The Not Milk doesn't like that. That's related to self-sufficiency, and it can never have that. Like the last video on YouTube, you're Mr. Citizen. Are you doing what I think you're doing? You're trying to heat your own home without us? Without people, without my corporation, says Not Milk, without my natural gas, without my Saudi oil. You're trying to do it on your own. We can't stand for this. Have San Francisco pass laws making it illegal.
She's urging me to make sure there are other laws in place for New Jersey. So Senator Bramnick is behind our back and making sure that whatever is right now on the table will be pushed this November, making sure that New Jersey children are safe. She also wrote a letter to President Biden asking him to urge other governors to make sure that there are laws in place to protect our children. So I think this issue is more complex than just Westfield High School.
Oh no, just stop. She says something about working with the governor's office to pass more laws. I mean, come on, laws. Everybody needs protection. We need more laws and more statute, and more ordinance and more code. And this Robbie Parker family is going to be used in some way for the AI law to protect our children. Matt, I thought you said it wasn't fake. Well, Robbie Parker, some things are just fake. I didn't say it's not one or the other. But this, I think it doesn't matter. I think they're using a real situation. It doesn't matter. Of course, now this little family has become a puppet of the Not Milk. Did I say they weren't? Am I going to send them flowers as completely legitimate people? No. But it's this type of thing that gives reality away, or the dark reality, or Not Milk away, because it never stops. It's the Terminator. It's never satisfied. Of course, these sorts of laws eventually will be put in place related to AI, and students will be able to be criminally punished if they do certain things with the AI that could harm other students. Of course, all these laws are going to go in place and they'll be extended to the general public. But then you think, will the AI be satisfied? No, not the AI. Well, Matt, that's a Freudian slip. The AI is behind not milk. Maybe it is. We don't know. But will not milk, what I call that, never be satisfied? Of course not. It's the Terminator. It never rests. Then it'll want to lower the bar on what is considered an offense. Where are you going to go? Someday, where will it end? To us, we logically say it must come to an end, not from the not milk's perspective. This, when some people say it's an AI or it's not a human intelligence, this is the most credible basis of their argument, because it never rests. It always pushes for more and more, where that more becomes ridiculous. The standards it looks to impose becomes ridiculous. And we're basically, well, we're way past that. But even for most people, we're at that point now. But it won't stop. It'll keep coming back and trying to get more. This gives the dark part of reality away. But the proviso here is it's only from our perspective. If someone is on the ship of fools, your Aunt Ginny, for example, then this is all normal. Matt, don't you know? Students must be protected. They go along with it, a frequency, a download. They don't see that the standards keep being pushed to ridiculous levels and that there should be a line where it no longer needs to be pushing. And if it keeps pushing, it gives itself away as very sinister, not human, of something else. But the ship of fools and those on it are conditioned to believe that whatever standards are pushed or wherever society goes is just the way a modern society goes, just completely normal. Matt, you're not one of those people. My friend Tony says, Matt, there is no conspiracy. Well, actually, it's the biggest conspiracy of all time.
Thank you. No, thank you.
What do you want me to do?
What about yourself? What about yourself? I'll do this one, so gonna do that. You drive! What about yourself?
She was only 17 years, 364 days, 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and 999 milliseconds old, you sick fuck.
It's been 20 years since the emergence of AI art, AI voice construction, and the sex bot revolution that followed it. I walk through the empty streets of Detroit. Looking up, I see a few lights on in the apartments. The sounds of anime girls moaning can be heard through the complex. The people that I do see outside are either poor fags, furries, or degenerates that...
So why did I have an NPC named Pretty Kitty in my Morrowind test cell? You see, I'm incredibly attracted to female Khajiit.
It's unclear if this is criminal. We will discuss that with our legal analyst in a minute.
I couldn't believe my ears. When I heard it was one of my classmates, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I did start crying because I was very emotional. But while I was walking through the hallways, I saw a group of guys laughing at a group of girls who were crying. And that's when I got really mad and I wanted to change this and I wanted to make sure that everyone knew it wasn't okay.
Yeah, I mean, it has been shocking. It has been shocking on many levels. One, as Francesca just pointed out, we are dealing with classmates.
I want to bring in NBC News legal analyst Angela Senadella for more on that. So, Angela, we know that the images were fake, right? They were created by AI, but they used real photos of these girls, 14 years old, still a little girl, in my opinion. Is this a crime?
Yes, and I'm going to say that definitively now knowing Francesca's age, which is 14. So if any image is obscene, sexually explicit, and involves a minor, that is child pornography.
AI devices are being used to deceive people. Deepfakes use AI-generated audio and video to smear reputations, spread fake news, and commit fraud. With AI, fraudsters can take 3-second, and you all know this, 3-second recording of your voice. I've watched one of me on a couple of things. I said, when the hell did I say that? But all kidding aside, 3 seconds recording your voice and generate an impersonation good enough to fool, I was going to say your family, fool you. I swear to God, you take a look at it. It's mind-blowing. And they can use it to scam loved ones into sending money because they think you're in trouble. That's wrong. Everyone has a right to know when audio they're hearing or video they're watching is generated or altered by AI. Thanks to this order, the Department of Commerce is going to help develop standards to watermark and clearly label AI-generated content. Just say that's how it was generated, AI generated. That way you can tell whether it's real or it's not.